we've decided
Recording in progress.
just to start recording because how many minutes is this late? We're getting worse again, 35 minutes late. Uh, and we've got the full gang here, and we're going podcast 5 now, I think. We're on a roll, and we will talk about last week's golf action, which we didn't do last time. That's my fault. And we're going to talk about golf tech this week. It's been a well thought out uh, point of discussion this week. So I think before we get to that, though, I think we need to talk about Rob, your mishap, um, and yeah, what's happened the past few days with your golf
How's
clubs.
your golf? How's your golf tech, Rob?
Are we going straight in? Are we
Straight in. So we don't know this.
straight in?
I don't know
No
the full
lube.
story anyway. Never mind our listeners, the hundreds out there.
So I've been out for 6 months injured. Bit of a miracle. I thought for sure last month I was going to get surgery, but with the doc we made some ridiculous progress, and I'm actually somehow got into shape to play golf over the last few weeks, and we decided to go and play this. I've got some Asian tour status, and we decided to go play. There's these like the challenge tour for the Asian tours on in Egypt back to back weeks, and we said it'd be a good test of the game just to see where everything's at. And flew with Egypt Air,
Oh,
which was a good start.
at least you're
Um,
going the right place.
thought got onto the airline. It was actually class. It wasn't a long flight, but they had new movies on it. I watched what was on it? Tron 2049 was on it. Ryan Gosling. I was thought
Oh,
this is way more modern than I thought
No
it'd
Matt
be.
Damon, no.
And then get the oh no, sorry, Blade Runner
There you go.
2049. And get to Cairo and no golf bag. And mind you, I landed at about 2 a.m. So waited like for usually Cairo takes a long time. I've been to this airport before. It takes a while for the clubs to come. So I waited a fair bit, and then I went to the desk and I said, "Is this the lost and found baggage place?" And your man, who must have been about 5'4", just looked at me and said, "You Mr. Robert." And he just knew straight away, your bag is not arrived, sir. I was like, "You're dead right." So then the process took like about half an hour. He didn't know where my bag was, but he knew it wasn't in Cairo.
I was gonna say, if he had a good idea you were Robert, and he said, it might have been just a good guess. Are you Robert? He's been saying, "Are you Robert?" for
Listen, I
years,
had
and
a late,
finally, there's a Robert that comes up to the desk.
He's actually said that to about 20 people.
Yeah.
maybe, yeah. Well, I was also thinking there's not many. I've had a layover in Jordan, and I was thinking there's probably not too many Robert Foleys that flew Jordan
Sorry.
to
a layover in
And
Jordan.
then we're in Jordan.
Jesus!
We let's go back a wee bit here, Rob. So
Sorry, this was this Friday, not that Friday 2 weeks ago, even though the same thing happened then.
oh God.
And yeah, I was gonna say there's not many Robert Foleys that flew probably from the Jordan to the Cairo airport, but I mean obviously that joke went down was sabotaged early there.
By your own, yeah, insinuation. So did you I don't even know the answer to this question. Have you played golf? Where are you at the minute?
So I'm playing the Egyptian Open the minute this week. Playing Peter Finch has got an invite as an influencer. There's actually two others. They do this on the Asian tour. They invite some like golf influencers to
Yeah,
play, and he's playing in it. So
depending how this podcast goes, we might get an invite soon.
Mm,
Wayne Kemp.
hmm
I was surprised to not see you here, Ethan. Actually, when I turned
Yeah, it
up,
didn't really work.
and
Didn't work. I had plans already.
no, and and so what's the crack? So basically, yeah, no clubs. Got a call there this afternoon from the airline to say that I won't be getting my clubs till Friday. So I'm definitely playing the first 3 rounds. hopefully I'll get a third round with a rental set that
Oh no.
the director he brought his own clubs because he's playing in the pro-am. He's off like 10 and he's lending me his clubs.
Oh dear.
So he got driver. Then next club after driver is four-iron.
Oh nice.
He
Good
told me
options there.
he's
You're gonna hit a lot of drivers this week.
yeah. So
I've
it'll
hit a lot of
be. I mean, the
four-irons.
driver's only go. The driver's like a regular kind of well, it's stiff, but it's so light that it's going like 260 yards anyway. So this thing is
Might as well just
ballooning.
back foot a 4-iron at that rate. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a bit of crack actually. It's funny messaging a few players. Like one boy lent me his 3-wood there, an Italian. I've got a Japanese fella lent me his lob wedge, and a guy from Indonesia just lent me his putter. So you can call me Mr. Worldwide if you want.
Wait, did you set yourself a challenge to get a club from each
A
nationality?
multicultural, a
Yeah.
multicultural bag.
It has to be. You're like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it properly and get a club from each country of the world instead of.
I it's funny being on the range. Like I just went up chatting to a boy, like asking him for some teas.
Jeez.
Where was he from?
Yeah, what balls are you using? Where are they from?
Oh.
I think he was Swiss.
So, at least you're playing.
I got my bag was overweight, so at least I put my golf balls in my backpack. So that turned out handy in the end.
Yeah, because they're hard to find.
That's four of them.
Yeah.
And then I actually went to the mall today. I bought myself some Adidas running shoes that I'll wear on the course, and and some what else did I buy? I bought a hat, an Adidas golf hat as well. Well, it's not a golf hat; it's just like it's a hat that you'd see on like a street corner in a dark alley. It's a
If you
dangerous.
make this cut and do well in this event, there's a great story there, isn't there?
If I make this cut, it would be. This is what I'm saying. Like I've got so much to win because the story I'd get if I'd make this cut would be outrageous. Like it'd be a joke because your man's loft and lies are just like he's obviously never checked his lies on his clubs in his life because his wedges are about like 2 degrees flat. Then his 8-iron to pitching wedge are about 2 degrees upright, and then his 4-iron, 5-iron, and 6-iron are standard. So
Just hit
the
them.
plan is to aim a bit left with the wedges, a bit right with the 8-iron.
This is amazing.
Oh, I'm so glad I
So this is
heard this story on the podcast and not asked you for too many
Yeah.
details the past couple of days.
no. So I played 9 holes practice round with the clubs this morning, but I couldn't practice with them in the afternoon because he was playing in the pro-am.
Oh, he's about to shoot
Oh.
85 and you're like, just flown to Egypt here. Range.
What are
So
the
I've had
what are the irons, Rob?
they're the they're tailor-made the P7 MCs, I think.
Okay.
They're all right,
Solid.
they're right. No, I mean,
If you're gonna say P790s there, then you
Nothing.
would be in trouble.
that would be in trouble, yeah. I'd be hitting 7-iron from 240 probably.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you're going
6-iron off
to,
the tee.
if you do well this week, you've got a lot of people to thank by the sounds of things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll have 3 where I hit this 3 with 6 times this week. That lob wedge, you should have said about the lead lob wedge shot I hit on the 16th.
It's got like Japanese engravings in the back. Not sure what it means, but it's a good story
There's him left.
regardless. Like
Oh, I can't wait. Absolutely cannot wait to hear this. When does it start
Yeah.
tomorrow?
first round tomorrow, yeah. First round tomorrow. So
time are you
I'll
teeing
have
off?
my I requested last tea time, and they were
Is that because
graceful
he's
enough to.
practicing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's playing a Texas Scramble at
In
8
the party at
o'clock.
local.
He's going to play the course next door in the morning. So
Good
no,
stuff.
they were graceful enough to give me last tea time. So that's ideal. But that's the crack.
Very good. Well, um, that was a very funny story. Well, we'll talk about last
Uh,
week's golf before we forget. So I know Jordan, as always, has been covering it. Robert probably has as well, or Rob, as he's better known by. Um, Me and Kempo have got a vague idea of went on, but I'll hand over to you two to give us the wrap.
can you name?
Uh,
Can you name me the winner, Ethan? What's his name?
yeah, go on. Who
I'll come to me 1 second.
who
Chat
won the
Young
PJ
GPT.
Young
Tour?
Wan Lee,
What?
Young Wan Lee,
No, yep, keep going.
Young Wan Lee.
Oh, very good.
Very
Very
good.
good.
Thank you. He's at world number 451st, I think.
Wow.
That was just a guess.
So yeah, the DP World Tour. The story of the week really was this guy, Jordan Gumberg, who
Mm.
was
Oh,
126th
Oh yeah, I
going
did
into
see
the
that.
final round, and he's playing all right.
without doubt.
And he hits the second shot into the last and holds it for eagle to jump up to 109th on the rankings from 126, obviously 115 qualify. So he jumps from 126th to 109th with an eagle hole out on the last to keep his card. I
Incredible.
mean,
The way it's worked out, does that mean that there's a few events remaining, so mathematically you can't go outside the top 115 now, or how does this work?
there's no events remaining. So the last two are 100, the top 100 and whatever get into the Abu Dhabi, and then the top whatever get into the Tour Championship in Dubai. So if
Yeah, I
you're in the
think it's
top
top
115 after
70,
the,
top 70, top 50, I think.
yeah,
I
so
see.
that's it. So the 115 was the cut-off for your card, and then the top whatever played next week in Abu Dhabi, and then Dubai after that. So that's just, I
You just
mean,
can't.
what a
You
story.
cannot imagine that. You
The
cannot
feeling
imagine
must
that.
be unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole out, the only other one I can think of this year is the guy Tedder from Estonia that played the Open
hmm
and the Open qualifying. I bumped into him in the Anchor Bar, and I mean, he must have been telling that story over and over and over again for the
Oh,
past
I bet
couple
he's not
months.
stopped.
But
Yeah.
I mean, for him, I think he doubled the last in the Open qualifying to then go into a playoff, or he would have automatically qualified, then hold out in the first or second. I think it was the first playoff hole to qualify. But I can't say I've got any hole out stories to resonate with
To add to
this.
that. This event always does that though. There's always someone fighting for something, isn't there? Either it's at the top, the bottom, like say 50, 70. But I mean, who was it who missed it by one? I saw an interview. Um,
Oh, I saw that guy as well. I can't remember his name.
and he's been on the tour for some time. John, you should know his name. I'm not really helping you here, but
Let's have a
older
look at the rankings.
old boy, he finished 116, 117th.
That's no good.
But he's had status for 4 years, I think.
All right.
And it's yeah, that must be obviously you're playing for your job for the next year, aren't you? Potentially
Yeah.
for more. So
And off the
um,
back of the episode, we talked about the different tours. Obviously, the drop off from the DP World Tour back down again
yeah,
is
you see it quite a lot
is
though, don't you? A
huge.
lot of the boys. There's some people who just bounce backwards and forwards. They come off a tour, they get it, and they get qualified, they fall off again. But
Yeah,
you know, it's rare you see someone who's got status for that long who is there. But I guess that's
but it also shows as
standards so
well.
good.
I actually saw, I think the Challenge Tour posted either today or yesterday about those who've won or who've led the rankings in the past 10 years. And there's only a couple boys that I would really recognize their names. Obviously, Marco Penge a couple of years ago. I think Jordan Smith won
hmm
the rankings, and apart from that, I mean, you would see the names and you would kind of half recognize them, but there's no
Yeah.
standout players there. So it doesn't
Like
necessarily guarantee either that if you win the Challenge Tour rankings that you're going to do well in the DP World Tour.
Andrea Pavan did 1 year.
Mm.
Francesco Laporta did 1 year. A couple other guys, but still good careers on the DP World Tour.
hmm
Yeah,
You
Yeah,
know,
good careers,
like
but
those guys have all
none of them
won the
have really
DP World Tour.
become superstars.
no,
Yeah.
but that's obviously that not many do. So,
There's also
um,
quite a few. I mean, was it Tom Detry who came over and had to get a result to keep his European status. Obviously, he had PGA Tour status this year, didn't he? So that's
Hmm.
where his focus has
Yeah,
been. But there was quite a few
he
new
would
lads
have
that kind of come in, and yeah, he would have been well up there. But he
he
just
would have
wasn't.
been fine with the
Yeah,
card anyways because of
but
the PJ Tour last year. But
yeah,
what was
he won the Phoenix, didn't he?
Yeah,
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 yeah.
and I'm
The
sure
waste
What
those
was
management.
the big European events he would have got invites to the Rolex series if he wanted to
yeah,
play them.
yeah,
But
sure.
even still, I mean, it's
what
good
was
that he went over and fought for it.
Yeah,
what was mad though is that the last event there in Korea, because it was a co-sanction event, a lot of the guys actually in and around the bubble for the card never actually got in the event,
Yeah,
never
right.
played
well,
it. So like I know a few boys here like Clem Sorday never got in. Um, Clemo Sorday, he was 114, so he was the first guy that was he cutoff was 115. He was 114 going to the last week, and he's got the Q school category, and he never even got into the event, so he didn't even get a chance to defend his position. So he must have been just at home watching
yeah.
and
And hoping boys don't
just
take him or whatever.
watching
Yeah,
boys
Yeah, and around
overtaking
him.
him without anything he could do. Like that's how, yeah, the tour needs to do something about that because that's not really. You got like a full tour card and you can't even fight for your card in the
yeah.
last event of the season.
Hmm.
Something's wrong with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, another way to get into events is sponsors exemptions, and that's when we jump over to the PGA Tour, where something quite miraculous happened, which the guy on this first, I think it's his first PGA Tour event, or is it first sponsors? It's the first time a sponsored player has then won that event, or something like that.
Um, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, is it Michael? Michael
Michael
Brennan?
Brennan, yeah.
He hits the ball a country mile. He was doing all his ball speeds and stuff. You've seen on the PGA Tour Instagram, and he was getting ball speed of like 192 on course, like not
Yeah.
just on the range, 192. 100, he was hit, I mean, there was a video that he hit 5 drives over 400 yards in competition, which is mental. Obviously, Utah's quite high up in
That is
altitude,
mental. Yeah.
but to do
400
that and
yards.
then to win, he won by 4 as well. So
He's got game. He's
in
got game over the long drive.
yeah, I think in his last uh is it 12 tournaments, he's 122 under par
Mm,
for PGA Tour Americas and PGA Tour. So and his worst
yeah.
score is 74, and he's only shot 4 rounds of 70 or over
So it
in the
was coming.
last
Yeah.
12
It's
comps.
not a
So I
massive
mean,
shock. Yeah,
it's not a
Yeah.
massive shot to him, but no one knows it's a massive shot to
exactly.
everyone else. But he's 122 under par for the last 12 events. So cheers. Thanks.
Yeah, and he's obviously he's gotten his card out of it, and he's bypassed Corn Ferry Tour, which is what he was initially probably hoping to just keep his Corn Ferry Tour status, get more starts, and get a full card. And now winning that, he's just bypassed all of it. So it's
Wow.
crazy how 1 week can just.
Mhm.
Yeah, Corn Ferry Tour is getting some serious points these days because the guy that's like
Mm,
50th in the world, 51st in the world, who's like
that's
number
right.
one in the Corn Ferry Tour, plays all Corn Ferry Tour and he's 50th in the world.
Yeah.
Um,
Mental.
It's scary. And
It shows as well how strong these college kids are getting now.
yeah,
Like the gap between top amateurs, even the top college players and the pros is just shrinking by the minute.
yeah.
yeah. Well,
The
you've played these events, both you guys, and I mean, me and Campbell haven't really played. I mean, events with the field that's so packed of these ready to go golfers, but it is scary how they can literally just come out of college and go straight onto tour, and they almost find it easier. As years go on, it seems like it's easier and easier for them just to adapt to what they need to do, and that's maybe because of the stats and yeah, years of data just working out how to best position yourself to then go on tour. And a lot of these ex-players are now coaches and mentors. So,
I mean,
um,
a lot of the elite amateur events in the UK aren't even getting as many points as they have the weekly D1 tournaments over there because the fields
yeah,
over there are just stacked with the top 50 in the world.
hmm yeah,
Yeah, I think now like college golf is basically like a professional golf tour. Like guys are practicing like professionals. They've they've got the best facilities, practice facilities in the world.
Hmm.
They they are just so set up to be. They've got like their whole team. Um, they've got their whole team within the individuals all set up. You know, they all got their coach, their staff, their own staff. They're all pretty much pros,
Yeah.
Yeah,
in these
it looks
in
like
these
it's
US college.
answering, when you were talking about how Tor can be quite a lonely place, whereas he says I've got their team that come around with them, it answers a lot of those questions, doesn't it? And they're enjoying it probably a lot more as well.
Yeah. Well, they are full-time, well, basically full-time golf. Although they're in college, they are full-time golf. They're getting their scholarships based on golf. And of course, there's your studies and stuff have to still be somewhat in line, but you get a bit more leniency when you're on a scholarship and yeah, they're going to these colleges not to get the degree. They're doing it so they can become professional golfers, and the degree is a backup. Um, but yeah, there's a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah,
the tech that comes into play, which is why we're going to chat about, well, not the only reason we're going to talk about golf tech, but from two former scholars and two wannabe scholars, now playing a lot of golf to get our thoughts on golf tech, not necessarily golf equipment, because I think we're going to talk about that in a different episode, especially as we look into the new season, custom fitting. I think that's an episode in itself. So, um, firstly, in terms of on-course tech, um, what's your thoughts on rangefinders and GPS? And no, Rob, can you kind of tell us about when you can use a rangefinder and when you don't use it? To use it in practice rounds as well, if you can't use it in tournament? Just a bit about all of that.
yeah. It's funny, like you got some. I'll just jump in. Yeah, you got some tours that allow it. You got some like you can use rangefinder on Asian tour, and I think you can use it on Corn Ferry tour. But you can't even, but they don't allow rangefinders on either the satellite tours in Europe. So Echo Tour, you can't, Pro Golf Tour, you can't, Alps, you can't, and you can't on Challenge Tour, but they allow it on, yeah, like I said, on like major tours like Asian Tour and Corn Ferry. And then I think they're looking to introduce that at like on the PGA Tour. I mean, I don't see why they're not allowing boys to use it. Like it speeds up play.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It it by a lot. It
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's a no-brainer for me. I don't know why. I mean that's the issue with these, the old jackets that make these decisions sometimes.
Yeah.
They're just kind of, oh well, you know, I used to walk 10 miles to school, so you have to walk 10 miles to school. It's kind of like, well,
I think they're seeing it as kind of working out yardage is a skill in itself. But like I say, if slow play is such an issue, and that answers a big one. And it's
Yeah.
not taking away from the caddies because the caddies do a lot more than just give you a number nowadays. It's not
Mm.
as simple as that.
Yeah. And yeah, obviously they use it in practice rounds as well. And I think it's especially when you hit the ball offline and then you're having to pace it out and there's no obviously marker, like you're nowhere near the fairway, so there's no marker to even give you a rough yardage. Having to pace it out, it just slows it up even more. You're already out of position. Now you're gonna have to pace out the yardage. Then you're gonna
Yeah.
have to double check it with the caddy. The caddy's gonna have to stand up there and give you a line, which you would have to do anyway if you had a rangefinder. It just adds up so much time. I think on the PGA
yeah, even
Championship you can use one, but that's the only one on the PGA Tour
yeah,
you can
yeah.
do.
It's funny because even I've played on like a DP Tour event. I've played in like top events where you're not allowed to use your Bushnell. And in the practice rounds, I have never seen someone not use a Bushnell and
Yeah.
like
Mm.
practice getting the yardage with their legs. Like
Yeah.
it is a no-brainer. And there's no one out there that's like, oh no, I'd rather do it the professional way. There's no player that would rather not use the Bushnell.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. My thought is that you're going to
it's
get to the number at some point. So you're going to get to the same number at
yeah,
some point. You might as well make it quicker by like 30 seconds or a
Yeah.
minute.
And I think I know Kemp's playing devil's advocate with the skill of getting a yardage, but no one's came out on a Sunday and said, "Oh, I've lost it this week because my yardages were off slightly from pacing it." Like, just use a Bushnell. Like, it's
Mm.
not going to make it,
yeah.
especially when you've got a caddy. As you say, that's to help your decision making, but it is to kind of speed up everything as well, so that as the player, you're just being told what shot to hit, and you just have to do it.
Yeah.
I remember
Agreed.
a good story. We were playing Challenge Tour in South Africa, and um, playing with Pedro Figueiredo, who's a Portuguese, very, very good player. He's been on tour couple of years, and so they brought the par three tee box forward by about 60. So you got a yellow dot on the back, the tee box that's way back, the championship tee box, and they put us up on the left, which was like the front, maybe the back ladies tee, just to change up the angle of the hole with a tough pin position. But it was also a yellow dot at the back of this yellow tee, this like the ladies tee. But it was about 210 from the championship tee, and it was about 150 from the back of the ladies tee. And it was a little uphill, so I mean, to give him the benefit of the doubt, and he's off first. And I just see him pull this iron out, and it was you could see it was like a 4 iron or a 3 iron, and it was 160 yards, and he's flushed this thing, and obviously you're not allowed to, or it was going so fast, you're not really allowed to say anything either, or you don't really know what he's gonna do, and he full swing, a ball just takes off like a rocket. And there's this one tree like 30 yards behind the green. And the ball's sailing over the green. And he's looking there like, and you can see he's like, there's an error in,
There's an error of my judgment here.
It should have come down by now, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's smashed into this tree 30 yards, like out of bounds over the, in near the villas. It's ricocheted back and it's come back onto the green.
How do you know it wasn't planned the whole time?
Perfect.
Yeah. Just hit a 4 iron to the back
I was
tree.
like, my God. This was like my second event on the challenge tour, and I was like, fuck, these guys are good, by the way.
Yeah. I know. I suppose you always make a mistake with a Bushnell, but I mean, that's very rare. Sometimes
this
you get
was
the
with
back tree. I know, and that's what I mean.
No,
Like if you
yeah.
had a Bushnell instead, but you could be obviously you'd have a better chance of working at the yards instead of looking at two yellow dots on the
Exactly, yeah. I'd say everyone makes the mistake with the dots in the yardage books probably like once a year or
Yeah.
twice a year. You'll make a
Yeah.
mistake with it. And the Bushnell just makes sure that it's fast and it's like a fair game for,
It's also
It's
also easier to trust the number as well. If you've got I know you trust your caddy, but if you've got a Bushnell, that's a number, unless you Bushnell the tree behind the green or something, but you're not going to do that.
No.
Yeah,
Obviously
but
with
the caddy's job nowadays has really evolved in like he's no longer a caddy's not no longer really doing the numbers anymore. Like he might do them, but the player's usually doing them as well now.
yeah.
And the caddy's more there just to talk about decision making and strategy and what club to hit. They're not really there to do the numbers anymore, to be honest. So
Yeah.
these yardage books are going to become obsolete like within the next 2 years. I'm probably going to forecast maybe about 3-4 years until you'll see Bushnell on the PGA Tour and on every tour.
Yeah.
You notice the kind of situation where, because say in your pre-shot routine, do you not use a course guide as part of your pre-shot routine to build a picture of the shot and almost
No,
like carry on?
Yeah. No, you would take the yardage book anyways just to see pin positions and like which part of the green you're heading to.
Yeah. And like distances
Like
to
that's never
bunkers
going to
and
go.
shit.
That's never going to go out of fashion.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's what like they're scared that it'll just be like boys are going to laser and they're going to hit and it's going to become robot golf. But like,
I mean, whether
when
they
you've
get the
got
yardage that way or with the Bushnell, you can make that argument anyway, because there's always that argument about robot golf, or you just giving them a number. And I mean, pros are so good that if it's flat cam and you just give them a number, it is just robot golf. They'll just hit the shot. So whether you paste it out or Bushnelled it, it's the same.
yeah, that's pretty fair as well.
Of course, with rangefinders, in practice you can use the slope setting, but on tournaments you can't. Do you agree that that shouldn't be allowed in tournament play? Because we're saying it's quite interesting, because Kimpo was saying it's a skill in itself, knowing the yardage. So is it a skill to look at something on the course and go, oh, this is actually playing 12 yards downhill, or should you just be able to use the slope rating?
Almost
You
impossible
see-
to know, isn't it?
Yeah, but you see most of the professional course guides, they have slope on them anyway.
It's true.
Like
Yeah,
there'll be a
you
number
have the slope on the yardage book.
yeah, you have top number, you have like middle number, which might be like front of the green. You'll have top number, which might be like the back of the green, and then the number underneath it will say like -2, and then that'll be your
Yeah.
slope. So it's
So
I
you're
mean there
saying it
might be
should be allowed?
well they've got it on the course guide, so it's like it's there anyway.
Yeah.
Do you think amateurs should be allowed to use it? Or do you think that takes away from the feel and
What skill? Yeah. Whatever
yeah?
skill
I
there
mean,
is there.
I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate, but
oh, I don't know actually.
if they're allowed to use a Bushnell to get the exact yardage, why wouldn't they be allowed to use the slope to get the playing yardage?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't see why the slope is the only reason I can see why they're trying to take the slope out is because maybe some guys don't actually have the rangefinders with the slope thing on it. Like
Good
it might
point.
be like
It's
a
Monopoly,
customer
isn't
who's
it?
got money and
yeah,
who's not got money.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
I can't see what it really changes.
no,
No,
Yeah, and slope Bushnells will just jump up in price if you said, "Oh yeah, you can use them now." Do you know what I mean?
it's true. Um,
yeah, they're
on
not
a
cheap.
on a similar, as I was wondering whether to put this in or not, because it's not golf tech in terms of electronics, but green reading books and using those to help you, I'll say help you read greens. It tells you how the putt's breaking. So you're not really reading the green as such anymore.
See that? I mean, that takes away from a big skill in golf, doesn't it? Especially if it's a very accurate one, and you know where you are on the green, you know where the pin is, and you can just look at your book and go, "Well, it's right to left."
Yeah,
You don't know how
But
much, but
if you've got a green reading book, you have to get it checked by the competition committee before you can use it.
yeah. So what's
Um,
the current rules in terms of, I mean, amateurs using one, pros using one in pro events? Because there's just to see a lot of green reading books. Is it now not allowed on the main
well,
tours?
yeah, you have to get them checked
Yeah,
by
it's
the
banned now,
competition,
yeah.
but you can get them checked. So like Ian Poulter did it. He had a green reading book for final qualifying, and he had to get it checked by the R&A at the event to make sure he could use it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's when I kind of go, there's one thing having a yardage, because whether you look at the yardage, I know you can say, oh, well, the putt's the putt, but it's not really a big skill of putting, as we talked about before, is like starting it online, getting the pace, getting the break. Um, and that's just removing a lot of it. Not to say that these green reading books are easy for the average golfer to interpret anyway. That's all I would say.
I
But
don't think they should be allowed. I think that it'll make it slower. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Yeah,
Takes it out of a
it's
routine.
also the bigger question. Yeah, go for it.
No, I just don't think they should be allowed. I just think they're a bit even for me. I think they're a bit too much. Um, I just think that they slow it down because again, when you're playing professional golf, the slowest part of professional golf is on the green because that takes the longest because it's like the hardest to interpret what way a
hmm
putt breaks and this and the other. So I actually think it just takes the longest bit of golf in professional golf even longer.
mhm.
So yeah, you can Bushnell it for 30 seconds, but if you have a green reading book and you add a 30 seconds onto the green, then it equals itself out, right?
Yeah, I think I would find it difficult as well. I know you can say once you get used to the green reading books, it make it easier, but a lot of putts, depending on how quick the greens are, they're going to break more severely or slowly. So actually looking at a green book one day and then go and look at it maybe 2 weeks later when it's grown a wee bit, I think that would just confuse me. I don't even know, and if it in terms of should it be banned or not, I just don't think it would help me at all.
Like it clearly shows that you've never used one, Ethan.
I've looked at no,
Never
I've
read.
looked Jordan. So Jordan got one for the Burgess just out of curiosity, and reading it
Yeah.
after maybe 10 minutes of reading it, I was like, okay, I kind of get this now. But I mean, for me, I don't think it would help my game really.
No, I mean it's more to do with aim point in terms of the percentages and slopes and stuff because you
Yeah,
can add in pace for that. You know what I mean? You can change the pace
it's just a
of
strength
your
of a
aim point
slope.
routine.
So
Yeah, you can. It's the slope's not going to change, but the pace
Yeah,
obviously changes. But then you just change the the way that you read the part in terms of the pace of the greens. So the actual slope is always the same.
yeah. I think you're proving the point that would make it slower, especially for someone like me. Then,
Yeah, just hurry up and miss.
yeah, just try and miss. I'm gonna miss anyway, so might as well just do it without a green book. Green book.
I think it all comes down to like what Kempo was saying about the skill. Like,
Hmm.
is reading a green a skill?
Sure, yeah.
I think it should be.
Yeah.
Yep. Hmm.
Like it's part of the game of golf. Like
Yeah, you
and
see you
it's
see good green readers and bad green readers, and
Yeah.
there's ways at getting better at it.
You wouldn't say that being able to read a green is an unfair advantage. It's a completely fair advantage to have.
Hmm.
Um,
yeah.
and I
You'll
think
have
you
to
can get
work at it as well, or
you
it's
can
a
get an
lot of people better naturally, but
yeah.
a lot of people work at it.
Um, okay, that was easy. In
But
terms,
it's the I'll just jump in quick, Ethan. It's
you go
just
for it, Rob.
it's the problem a bit with golf at the minute is that the is the big question, like, is the skill set demanding of playing golf just diminishing every year with the technology that's coming in now? With like the so many guys now are just hitting it. No one's really shaping it anymore.
Hmm.
Everyone's just hitting bomb a driver, then hit a high wedge shot in,
Hmm.
and then you're doing your aim point and you're making the putt. Is that like, you know, how do this is why like the ball roll back is
Mm.
not necessarily the worst thing in the world in my point of view.
Okay. Well, do you want to get into that?
That sounds like another episode to me.
That sounds like a different episode to me, but I think yeah, the premise of the episode
That's fair.
is technology tech given an unfair advantage in some ways, or is it a fair advantage? And I think we've kind of been balanced so far and said that the rangefinder, it's I mean it's not necessarily it's an advantage time wise, and it just doesn't make sense why everybody couldn't use a rangefinder, but we agree that green reading is a skill in itself. So given maybe more ways to level that playing field, excuse the pun, is um is probably an unfair advantage. But in terms of overall tech and your rounds and how you work on what to get better at stats, do you use a stats app, Rob, for your rounds to track
Yeah,
stats and what to work on?
yeah. I mean, as Jordan will know, we say like you can't improve something that you don't measure. So then
Hmm.
you're just going off feeling. This is what we had 4 years with Walker Cup captain Dean Robertson and Sterling. You know, if you can't improve something that's just not measured, and so
Hmm.
that's why it's important. Same thing with same thing with your weight, same thing with gym. The reps or whatever the weight you're using. At the end of the day, golf, you have to find a way to figure out like are you getting better at something or not, and stats are the way to do that. We use with the Swiss team, we use a system called Upgame, which is brilliant. Just tells you like your strokes gained uh, off the tee, your strokes gained, approach shots, strokes gained short game, strokes gained putting, and it doesn't quite do strokes gained talking yet, but I'm sure
Oh no.
after a few more episodes we'll build that
Yeah,
one
we'll
in.
get that affiliation deal, yeah.
You'd be in the serious positive, Rob. Don't you worry about
Yeah. And what would you say? I mean, Jordan and we were talking about this before. You don't really track your stats anymore, and you're saying about the number of rounds. Is it once you go into full-time golf next year, are you going to track every round, some rounds? How are you going to make
that.
that decision?
Yeah, I'll track. Same with Robert Uni. We should track every single shot, right? And I think it's really important when you're doing it all the time. But if you're not playing, not playing so many events and working and all this, that, and the other, I just couldn't be bothered.
Right, fair enough. Kempo, do you
Simple answer.
track?
No. I think way back when I was younger, we were on Golf Data Lab, but apart from that, like you say, it doesn't work unless you track every single shot. But it's harder for us amateurs to kind of find a way to do it accurately, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we do it roughly. Like we'll know how many greens we've hit. We'll know if we got up, how many times we got up and down, how many putts we've had. We'll kind of talk about it after a round.
But
But in
that's it.
terms of
That's all
like,
those stats do. Those stats are only
yeah,
good for chat after the round. They don't actually, I mean, green state
yeah,
doesn't
no,
give
I
you
agree.
anything that you can work on. I can say, oh, I hit 17 greens today, but what does that really show us? What irons were there? How far proximate to the pin, that kind of stuff. And I guess it's about finding an app that is easy enough and doesn't take too much time, you know?
Yeah, I think it is
Yeah,
just laziness that the reason I
I
don't do
think
it anymore. But
yeah, I think if you're a golfer under like 5 handicap, even if you're off 5, 4, 3, you should really be doing stats.
Hmm.
yeah,
Like
It
there,
doesn't necessarily, yeah, yeah.
it just takes out that gray area of like, like we've been saying in a few of the other podcasts, like you drove it terrible, but you missed a few 3-footers, so you think your whole game's, you just think like you go to bed thinking that it's your putting that's your biggest problem
yeah,
when
hmm
actually it's your driving. You need to just take the gray area out and know where exactly you need to improve in your game. And
yeah,
there's a few
it's
really
yeah, you can't get bogged down in certain stats. There's some stats that I think are rubbish. Like, I remember Match Patrick, he says he thinks proximity to the hole is rubbish because he doesn't always aim for the hole, which I think is fair.
yeah.
yeah.
But
But
those are more
you need to pick and
subjective
choose.
stats. I mean, the stats such as say you've got putting stats for a round that'll give you your whole out percentage from different distances. That's obviously worthwhile instead of a situational stat, which is hitting to a particular pin and you're intentionally hitting to 20 feet, but then you go, oh, you hit it to 20 feet. That's not a great shot,
Yeah.
but
I
you're
think
actually aiming it there.
in the first episode you guys spoke about Sam Burns at the Ryder Cup and that the commentators were trying to say that he putted terribly, but really it was his long game that was putting too much pressure on his putting and leaving himself with a lot of long putts. His putting wasn't that bad. It was just the fact he didn't actually hit it close enough to hold putts. When really he'd come off the
I
course
think his putting was pretty bad.
compared to what he's usually like, maybe. But you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It kind of it identified that it actually might have been more his approach play that was letting him down.
Yeah, I don't have an argument against stats. It's more my own game. I've just been a bit definitely just been lazy. We have done it before where at university, yeah, we've used Golf Data Lab to put your stats in, and it's more, yeah, it's more to identify the weaknesses but sometimes expectation management again, you go, oh yeah, I didn't hit it that well today. It's because you've hit like 2 or 3 7 irons to 30 feet, and then you realize actually stroke gain wise, that's not that bad. Well, it's actually pretty good. So it's good in both aspects for highlighting what's bad, but also expectation management and realizing actually the bad shots aren't maybe as bad as
Good point.
you think they are. So yeah, next year that's definitely a goal of mine is to take more stats and not be as lazy about it. I'm bad for maybe doing 3 or 4 rounds in a row and then forget and then going, oh well, I haven't done it for that round, so I'm just going to stop doing it now. That's probably not the best way to do it. In terms of launch monitors, Jordan, this is going to be a good one for you. Given the past few days, launch monitors and tech like that, well, back to I suppose the original argument is, do you think it's an unfair advantage to practice with a launch monitor, or is there any arguments against using a launch monitor, for example?
I think if you take it right down and strip it right down, if you don't know how, like for example, let's just talk the basic stats. If you don't know how far you hit your clubs,
Hmm.
you distinct. Well, I say how far. You obviously know how far you hit your clubs, but if you're not knowing how far certain shots go, certain clubs go, certain grips, certain swings, you can't then hone in on certain numbers. So I think it's so important, and I think it just uses it's more evidence based on what you're actually doing because feeling based is all well and good, but if you feel like even when you're talking about club path or face path, and you feel like you're out to in swing path, but then you actually look at numbers and you're actually into out. So it's like it really just gives you a lot of evidence. It's really good for coaching and stuff. It makes coaching so easy. And if again, there won't be one guy, to be honest, that's on a professional golf tour that doesn't use a launch monitor
Yeah.
and just doesn't know how far they hit their golf clubs.
Rob?
Yeah, I think like as Jordan said, if you don't know how to use it, it's probably just gonna do just work against you most of the time. And there's a lot of pros out there that will use it for the wrong reasons as well. And you can get so stuck into club and club face and path and stuff. But the best thing about these things, these launch monitors for pros, is that you can actually just there's these new there's this new software that's come in where you can actually practice on the ranges if you're on a course. So it'll show you like a green with a back left pin, and then you'll be hitting a shot to a target on the range, and it'll be on the screen. You'll see if you miss it 5 yards left, you're in the water, but if you miss it 20 right, your OB or something. So you can
Mhm.
recreate pressure situations on the range because a lot of pro golf is time management. So if you can do a lot of good work on the range where you can do performance drills, then that's where it helps, the most. And that's what you'll see the most guys doing in the range at the open or stuff. You think that a lot of these guys are just checking like what attack angle they have on their
Mhm.
ball and what swing dynamic crazy numbers they're looking at and how they're trying to get their swing to an exact like perfect place that they like it. But really, mostly they're just doing performance drills and just getting their yardage for the week,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Kempo, what's
And
your
they're
thoughts?
quite expensive, but
Yeah.
Well, that's
if
I
you
think there's a reason why they're expensive because they're so good. I think what going back to what Jordan said, I've had personal experience of thinking I've hit a shot because of a certain path, then I've gone in there and actually it's not path, it's just the relationship between it was completely different and the face was the issue kind of stuff. So it's just another line of proof. You can video your swing, but if you have to delve into the numbers, you can really build a picture of what is going on. I mean,
Yeah.
I obviously again, as amateurs, we find it difficult to access them, but when I have been on one, they're fantastic. And like you
Yeah.
say, it's I can see the benefit as a coach as well because it just gives you actual stats that you can digest with the person you're giving a lesson to, in quite a simple way. Um, so
Yeah.
yeah, I think they're brilliant.
I think the average Joe using a launch monitor without a pro with them or someone who knows how it works,
A lot.
it's probably not a good idea. I mean, in that situation, all I would say is, and it's sort of back to what you were saying about focus and like I remember when we used one at university, Dean, the coach would only put on like 4 or 5 tiles, so we would like measure 4 or 5 things because you've got like 8 or 9 things down there, then you're not actually measuring anything
You do.
because you're looking at too many numbers. You're not really focusing on what the aim of that session is supposed to be. I think for say a 16 or 17 handicapper, they really need to look at is their carry number, total number, spin, and probably strike location. Maybe
Not
club
for me.
path is yeah, maybe club path into out or something like that. They're club to path maybe, but that's like 5 tiles. But you have like 30 there that you could pick. So I think that's when you get in trouble if you just start picking and choosing. You don't know how it works.
I mean,
Um,
it's made its way into short game a lot more now, hasn't it? I think when see people talking about spin and attack angle and vertical shaft, whatever they call VSP, it's all there, and it's changed coaching that by the looks of it as well.
yeah. Um, what I like it for is kind of recalibrating. I'm quite I can be quite simple in my that's probably the downfall, but if like for example, if I'm swinging well for a few weeks, then one week I just feel like something's not right, or I keep hitting. Usually with me, it's like hitting irons left. I think okay, maybe I'm just coming a bit too inside, and then just to go in on the track man and see, yeah, I'm swinging like 5 from the inside. It just gives me that kind of visual cue to go, oh right, okay.
Yeah.
I'll just start feel like I'm swinging left then and see if that makes a difference, and that's literally all I really use it for
It answers a
is
lot
to
of questions, doesn't
recalibrate.
it? You can then take that field, if you are to inside right, let's get this steeper. It gives you a definite answer of what's going on rather than open to kind of someone's opinion.
For sure. I'm kind of losing my voice now, so I thought this might be a good bit to finish. We've went for about 50 minutes. That's longer than I thought we'd gone for. So,
We didn't even
um,
touch on Sam Putlab or anything there as well. He's all sorts to talk about.
well, I was going to do some pot lab and stuff, but we're going to do more detailed ones about practicing in the off season, maybe reflect on our seasons this year, and then there's so many episodes that we
I don't
can.
think people want to hear about our seasons, Ethan.
You
Rob,
sure?
how good was your season this year?
best I've ever had, to be honest.
No cuts missed.
No cuts missed, yeah. But yeah, there's so many out of this is going to be so many other episodes we can do because you can talk about hard practice routines, um, like we've talked about golf tech, we've not talked about golf equipment. We've got the rollback of the golf ball. Like there's so much that we can cover, so we're trying to keep it pretty targeted there. So yes, keep an eye out for those. We're hoping to get a guest episode soon. Our good friend Finlay Hamlin wants to jump on at some stage, so. We'll get him on to talk about golf courses in Scotland potentially and relate it back to our days playing bucks and our favorite holes and things like that, and maybe funny tournament moments My funny moments are probably gonna be slightly different to Rob and Jordan's.
Oh yes, different
Um,
different sides of the field usually.
Different scores. I mean, the one I can think of is the Kiddicks when I was told by the event organizer that I was definitely making the cut after Jordan shot 90 the day before, and then Jordan shot 90-69 to kick me out the cut by one. That one springs to mind, and since then the Kiddicks just went down in my estimations.
I hate that guy.
It's not like I drove to Dundee to the travel lodge or anything and was ready to stay over, and then I had to drive home afterwards. That never happened. So. But yeah, we'll talk about those in future. But until then, yes, please follow us on Instagram. Look out for the TikToks that Jordan is posting semi-regularly.
Getting better.
And
Getting better.
yep, see you in the next one.
Cheers, guys.
Abuse us if you want.
Yeah, hate mail is welcome.
See ya.
See you
See you
guys.
later.
Mail, please.